First of all, Wolf's not here, but we had the over-under bet. I said it was going to happen yesterday. He said it was going to happen today. That something was going to happen with Hollywood. So I win, and of course he's not here for me to laugh in his face. Maybe I'll
and
record
Hollywood
a video.
Brown going to the Chiefs, a team that needed wide receivers. It's just that whole thing is wild to me because you had Hardeman who ended up, the tumultuous deal with the Jets, and then ends up scoring the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it just shows you that, look, they got through the whole season with having a wide receiver problem, and Travis Kelce wasn't exactly catching the ball, and he wasn't doing Travis Kelce things.
Which is a big part of his job.
Yeah, it was very disappointing. He had some decent games early on, and then he kind of fell off, and it was hard to tell why. And
he turned it on in the playoffs. I'll give him that.
Oh,
He
yeah.
did do that.
That's the thing. The whole operation turned it on in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting because why I'm saying this is because now they add Hollywood, and the Cardinals are without Hollywood. And the question is, for me, even if they draft Marvin Harrison Jr., which I think is, obviously the plan, and I think a great plan. I think it doesn't even need to be, I'm not sure if we have to hide this or have, deception, and it's just draft the man.
Well, they're not deceiving anybody now. They don't have any receivers left on the roster.
Right. So that's the thing is that now you need a lot from him, and then you have Dortch elevated with Rondale Moore gone, but now you're looking at a room that really doesn't have another guy with a track record.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here because Hollywood's deal is reportedly $7 million, but it could be up to $11 million. So it's that 1 year sort of prove it deal that that we've been talking about, which makes some sense because his numbers weren't great last year. So you figure if I'm Hollywood Brown, I'm thinking I could probably get more money next year. Where can I prove it? And Wolf and I were talking about this yesterday. To me, the two places that made the most sense were Kansas City. Kansas City makes the most sense for Hollywood Brown. You go play with Patrick Mahomes, and he's exactly what they need. And he can catch, unlike the guys that they had there last year. That's a great move.
Honestly, look, we had him here a couple of years. The boneheaded mistakes and the things that I saw from those Chiefs receivers were just not. Hollywood Brown knows how to play football, generally speaking. So that's a bonus.
If he stays healthy, he's going to have probably an amazing year. The other team that would have made sense is the Cardinals because he could play with Kyler, and so it's hard for me to if he had signed today with Tennessee or something, I would be like, okay, because a lot of times I don't know about you, Jody, but a lot of times for me, my thought is always that the players kind of know what's going on before everybody else. So if he bolted for some lesser team, I don't know if that would reflect all that well on what's going on here because that's not that much money. I feel like the Cardinals could have matched that if they wanted to.
Yeah, it's not breaking the bank, but it's a chunk of money.
Yeah, but it's not Calvin Ridley money. No,
but again, look, he has a little bit of the tag of injury prone. However, prior to the heel issue he was having, and I think it's a little bit unwarranted. He's been healthy a lot as well, going back in his career. But
it's hard to feel bad that he went to the Chiefs. It's hard to be like, well, he must not think the Cardinals are as good as who? Where did he go? Oh, the Chiefs.
Oh, you're like,
They're
it's a no-brainer.
As good as the Chiefs.
So in other words, you feel a little better being that it's not like he didn't want to come back here, really, or it's not that it wasn't a fit here. It's just that he had a chance to go play with the greatest quarterback of at least the current era, and we'll see what happens in the future.
This is where a lot of us thought he was going to go, right? The Chiefs made the most sense. And now, though, to your point, it leaves the Cardinals with a receiver room as far as guys that are actually signed. Well, now we don't have to say that because Hollywood was the only one that was up in the air. Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, Zach Pascal. That's basically your receiving. You have other guys for depth, but those are basically your top. That's not going to work. And
it tells me they're expecting a big jump from Michael Wilson.
Now you're relying on it. Right? Because you're basically, if you draft somebody, I'm assuming you're drafting your number one and hoping Michael Wilson is your number two.
There are some other guys in the draft. I guess they could go heavy on wide receiver, but
that'd be kind of funny. They just loaded up on receivers at the top.
But yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. is very exciting for the Cardinals. This is a guy that hopefully will be a generational player, a guy that will come in. There have already been comparisons. It's sort of unfair to compare him to people like Larry Fitzgerald. There have been others of great receivers. And to be honest with you, Kyler Murray, and you know this from covering this team for a long time, Kyler Murray is only as good as some of the guys he has around him, and they have to have that guy. I mean, look at through the years, they had Anquan Bolden and Fitz for a long time. Even after Q left, they had Fitz there. Then DeAndre Hopkins came in, and when DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray were both healthy and out there together, it was mostly good, unless Aaron Donald was on the field.
Which isn't an issue anymore.
It was mostly good.
Yes, it was never good when he was on the field.
It's hard to get the ball downfield with that man in your face. But yeah, so I mean, if this works out like it should, and it looks coming from the son of a Hall of Fame, receiver, I mean, it looks as much of a sure thing as anything can be in the draft.
Yeah.
And so you're banking on that. You're really banking on that, and you're banking on one of last year's picks, Michael Wilson, to be a part of that. And Dortch, I love that Dortch is going to be more involved, and that's a positive for this team. But you're right. And Trey McBride will get the ball a ton, but you still need wide receiver depth.
Yeah, and maybe it was unrealistic of me to hope for this, although I'm not even going to say that. It was doable. They could have brought Hollywood back, unless he just didn't want to be here, but I can't imagine it's that. So maybe it was just simply, there's a scenario where you couldn't have gotten him to come back because he can go play with Mahomes, and he's basically their number one
and
receiver.
I think that probably what it was.
Yeah. But for me, I was of the hope that they would get Marvin Harrison Jr. in the draft, who they don't have yet, by the way, but hoping that they would get him and then either have Hollywood or go get a free agent around that same price. And they could still go get, like, Mike Williams is available. I'm guessing he is going to cost more than Hollywood. I mean, all those other receivers now, the Curtis Samuels, Gabe Davis, those guys are gone. So I would like to have a number one receiver from the draft, a good established number two receiver, and have Michael Wilson as my number three, with Greg Dortch as kind of like my guy that I mixed in, plus Trey McBride. Now, maybe that's not the path they're going
I agree
down.
with you on that. Yeah, it would be nice. But again, I mean, my guess is they were, prepared for this, and the way they're structuring. Look, a lot of the shopping they've done in free agency have been, I think, in my opinion, kind of good bargain buys, including the trade. Rondell Moore for Desmond Ridder. You're getting a guy that, I mean, he doesn't have that much experience at quarterback, but he does have some. He's not been in the league very long, but he makes $1 million or $1.2 million or something like that.
You would assume he's going to, as a backup, he's probably one of the better backups. I think
they're being very fiscally responsible here and with where they're allocating their money. But as far as Mike Williams, he's been injury prone. Yeah. He's coming off an injury. So, that can't be avoided. It's football, but I do think that the evaluation of some of the guys and what I've seen them sign on the defensive side are guys that are very durable, and hopefully, again, I trust from what they did last year, bringing in certain guys and the draft, you have to really trust a lot of that evaluation based on that. If you're going by try, it's only been one season.
It's a small sample size, but so far so good for Monty Awesome. Like, I have no problem trusting what he's doing. I mean, there was a time where I trusted what Mike Hazen was going to do, but he hadn't been here that long, and now that obviously paid off. I think a lot of D-backs fans trusted Mike Hazen pretty much from the beginning, and now look where they are.
If I were Wolf, he'd say, freaky Mike Hazen.
He would. And
then he'd start rapping.
Mike Hazen, wheeling and dealing.
He's actually out today so he can get in the studios and record new Mike Hazen material.
I know, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I have much less ability to rap than Ron Wolfley.
Don't say that. That's not true. I guarantee you. I guarantee you, if you took this next break that's going to be like 3 minutes and you worked on your rapping skills, you would be ahead of Wolf by the time we come back at 10:30. Real quick, here's some of the free agent receivers that are still out there. Mike Williams is obviously the big name. Now I would take if you're telling me I can draft Harrison, and I would have taken Gabe Davis, but he actually made more than Hollywood did.
I like Gabe Davis as well, yeah.
Just not as a number one, but like as a two. KJ Osborne's out there, Odell Beckham's out there always. Tyler Boyd's out there, and
you can get him in October.
Yeah, in fact, I don't even think he wants to play before October. Michael Thomas is out there. That's interesting. He talk about somebody that can't stay on the field and is probably going to want some money, but if you could get him and he was healthy, that'd be. Look,
it speaks to wide receivers, though, too. I mean, this is not an easy job, going down the field, going over the middle. I mean, most of them do have an injury history, but that's the beauty of a guy like Fitz.
Yeah.
Think back to those days.
I just bring back Fitz. He hasn't officially
That's what I'm saying
yet,
about Marvin Harrison Jr. There are guys that are built for durability a little bit more than others, and so hopefully they're going to be getting that type of a guy.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.